Mr. Kumar Awanish, ladies and gentlemen. He is the Chief Growth Officer from Cheil, India. The next name, please put your hands together for Miss Anita Nayyar, ladies and gentlemen, who is consultant and former COO, Patanjali Ayurveda. Zordar taaliyan bande, come on everybody, give it up. Now please put your hands together now as I welcome Mr. Basant Rathore, Senior Vice President, Strategy, Brand and Business Development, Jagran, Prakashan. And last but not the least, put your hands together for Mr. Rahul Mudgal, Consultant and former Head of Growth, Ripple Infactum Growth Marketing.
So good afternoon, everyone. I think the first topic we are going to discuss is the agility in marketing. And broadly, we are going to discuss it under four topics. First, we will be discussing about how agility in real-time marketing or the consumer behavior is shaping up, what are the pros, what are the cons, what needs to be done. Second is about the adaptive storytelling, essentially how quickly you can do the changes in your communication to reach out to the consumer demand. Third one, we'll be talking about the omni-channel experience, agility into the omni-channel marketing. And the fourth part, which is about the technology. So how technology is shaping up the agility into the marketing. So probably we would start with from that side, Rahul. So how do you think that technology is shaping up into the agility of marketing?
Sure. Thank you. Good afternoon, all. So how many of this, how many of us in the room feel sort of overwhelmed or intimidated by this mention of AI all the time in marketing? Show of hands. Okay. That's fewer than I thought, because, the first time I started sort of exploring the tools, and, it just seems overwhelming, right? So I will just put them in three buckets, essentially, in that how to make sense, you need a mental model, you need a frame of reference. Otherwise, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with all the jargon being thrown at you, the discourse around how AI will take away the jobs in marketing, et cetera, right? So the three buckets that I would define is model your world, and allow me to elaborate later, model your customer, and iterate at scale. Okay, let's take one at a time, okay? So what do I mean by that? So when I say model the world, predictive analytics have existed for a long time, way before ChatGPT came in, right? So this is generative artificial intelligence, predicting behaviors, simulating behaviors, thinking about outcomes. On the B2B side, we've been doing attribution modeling, lead scoring. On the consumer side, we've been looking at social data feeds. We've been doing social listening. We've been trying to be able to triangulate what our customers and consumers are interested in, what is their buying intent, what are the buying journeys, and how we can curate and orchestrate those buyer journeys across different mediums, right? So we've been doing that for a couple of years. Now, with the generative artificial intelligence, it allows you another feed of input, essentially, to be able to say how you model your consumer insights and be able to stress test them against some real-time analytics coming too. Because, what happens with technology, essentially, is that there's a lot of deluge of data, right? So everyone's talking about data all the time, but what happens is there's a lot of noise. But the more the data, the more the noise. So AI and some of the latest tools, and I'm wary of not naming any tools, and I'll give you a couple of references towards the end, because, I don't want to be shilling or promoting any specific products here. But essentially, it would allow for you to have a very holistic view of the world in a way that almost think about it like running a digital twin of your marketing ecosystem and being able to see and stress test what happens after before you spend a marketing dollar. Okay, so that's essentially model your world. Okay, the second is model your customer, which is more about hyper-personalization at scale, the audience of one. Right, all of us know that Netflix and Spotify do this at scale. They're extremely good at it, right? But what we don't know is, in addition to your Netflix feed being curated and hyper-personalized, for the same show, like if I were to watch, what's that famous Korean show? Anyone familiar with? Oh, Squid Games, yes. So Squid Games, right? So imagine you being served a Squid Games promotion, and so is someone in Thailand. But the thumbnail they will see in Thailand will be very different from what you see, depending on the cultural preferences of consumers in India versus Thailand. It's the same show. But even the thumbnail is being changed by Netflix. That's hyper-personalization at scale. What AI has done has democratized access to that hyper-personalization. I don't need to have thousands of dollars to be able to do that at scale as Netflix does. And you would know how Spotify does that, wraps your ear up and tells you what you've been listening to all the year round, right? So that's model your customer, you being able to see a buying intent data at scale. And despite the fact that because of artificial intelligence now being used for search, some of the things that we used to do in SEO don't work anymore. But even then there are different tools available for you to be able to see dark web data at scale and being able to then use certain identifiers, being able to assimilate, do cohort analysis, do connection of disparate dots in the marketing ecosystem. Okay? So that's hyper-personalization scale. The third one being iteration at scale, agility in iteration. So everyone talks about how you can now create creatives in a matter of hours, what used to take weeks and months. Some of the campaigns that we know of and we've fondly grown up with back in the early 2000s, it took months to create those campaigns. Now you can actually run those creatives in a matter of hours. And that's really the power of some of these algorithms that serve and some of the inference tools that are available on the back of foundational models, which allow you to create a lot of creatives based on a single brief and being able to see and simulate how your ideal customer profile would react to and consume that media. Right? So those are the three buckets that I would triangulate what's happening. Otherwise, it's very easy to get overwhelmed and think, well, I think I don't understand this space. Lastly, I would leave you with two references. Again, these are newsletters by certain industry experts, and they list like hundreds of tools are coming online every day, right? So one is called Matt Wolf, okay? Matt Wolf with WOLFE, okay? You can look him up. You can subscribe to his newsletter. He has a spreadsheet of all the tools that are available, and you can try them for free. So I would encourage each one of us to not get overwhelmed, but keep trying some of these new tools that are coming online, which can really be a great collaborative tool, and you don't have to get overwhelmed with the use of artificial intelligence. The other one is Ben Bytes. Ben Bytes, spelled B-Y-T-E-S. Okay. Again, a great spreadsheet of all the tools that are coming online. They are, freemium models, so you can actually try them for free. See what works for you, see what sticks in your context, and then choose and go from there. Thank you.
How do you spell it? Ben Bytes?
Ben's, B-E-N''S.
Okay.
Ben's Bytes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
So I think summing it up, probably speed with precision is what the tool automation in marketing agility is going to deliver. In a nutshell, through all of those three buckets which you have just mentioned, I think this is what predominantly it will be able to do. Okay, Basant. So would want you to touch upon two things. One, I think the beauty of agility marketing is that it narrow downs the gap between the insights which have been taken, the action which you take, and the outcome it delivers. So in pockets, it's more about doing the testing rather than what I know already, right? So change the whole fundamental of the marketing. When you go, as you progress, when you move forward, you keep on testing, learning, and implementing. So how omni-channel marketing or omni-channel agility is better for the any advertiser? And so first let's touch upon this. Then the second point we would want to understand from you in detail.
We are in the news and information space, and for us, if I am handling a brand like a newspaper or any other news media brand that we are handling, the product is changing every day. The brand remains constant. So if you look at it, agility comes naturally to us. We've got to be, our ears to the ground have always got to be there. At the same time, the larger context in which I'll base my argument is the fact that we are in the content creation, content distribution, and content monetization space. Each of these three spaces are being disrupted at a never before seen scale. Content creation is no longer our monopoly. Content distribution is no longer in our hands. And monetization, the kind of fragmentation that's happened, is getting difficult by the day. So if you look at it, all the three strategic pillars of our business are getting disrupted at a very, very different pace. So for us, we always tell ourselves, we maybe tell ourselves that way, that we wear two hats. One hat tells me that the current media business is alive and kicking, and let's make the best of it. The other hat tells me this business is dying, let me plan for the future. So parallelly, we are trying to, it's like changing the tires of a car which is running at 100 kilometers per hour kind of thing. So we are actually in those two boats at the same time. Having said that, when I start looking at how do we build in agility into our marketing campaigns and how we look at our consumer interaction on a day-to-day basis, we typically, obviously, we actually go very, very deep into the markets. So we have a huge bandwidth to cover in terms of audiences, the kind of geographies that we cover and so on and so forth. The entire northern belt is what we really take care of. And I've done enough studies across the board. I've done longitudinal studies where I've looked at top tier towns, middle tier towns, and even below 50,000 towns of 20,000 population, etc., just to understand how do people look at omnichannel from a media consumption standpoint. In our minds, there's a binary of print and TV and this and mobile and all of that. But in the consumer's mindset, there's no binary that exists. They are moving seamlessly from one to the other. And it's very, very seamless. So when we looked at that research and we looked at that data and the insights, I think the big thing that we figured out is that every media has figured its way out in the news and information space. So if I look at it, I look at myself as an agenda setting brand. So I set the agenda with the newspaper in the morning, carry on the conversation through the mobile and through internet channels, through digital channels during the course of the day, and maybe cap the debate through video and digital at night or TV at night. So if I look at the entire consumer journey, so it begins with an unfiltered agenda set right in front of you, conversation during the day, and cap it up by evening. So that's how the conversation will keep flowing around. So when I mount any campaign, typically when we look at our audiences, most of our campaigns are around how can community leverage my platform to create the change around them. So that's the core of our existence as a brand, because we are in the news space. I'm not telling people to go and buy more of newspapers. That's not my job. That's not what we want really. I want my community to be deeper engaged with me, find relevance in me, and actually be able to use my platform to create the change. Okay. So when I do that, very clearly, for me, every campaign is an insight gathering exercise.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.